Hello everyone and welcome to Imperator Rome. This time I'm going to do a guide on how to start playing Rome. So obviously Rome is super strong. It's meant to be super strong, and it's definitely one of the easiest countries to do a great expansion on, but getting off to a good start is key to doing so. So I'm going to try and walk through it all. Hopefully I'll remember to nail everything that I want to talk about. And if I miss stuff, by all means, leave me a message in the comments. So first things we want to do is we want to click on Rome and we want to get rid of both the tax office, probably we want to get rid of the training camps, the marketplace, and the court of law. And we want to invest in at least 2 academies, ideally 3. We're a little bit shy. We also want to make sure none of these other buildings, they're all trading camps, so at least for now we're going to get rid of them. Yes, they do contribute a good amount to Rome's starting manpower, but you really shouldn't have too much trouble for manpower as Rome, and early on, research is much more useful. So the next thing is to check about our government. At some point, we want to switch to the Punic reforms. That will get you a legion. You can only do that when you're a regional power and have professional training. So obviously we need to get professional training and conquer 2 provinces. There's plenty of ways to do that, but I'll go over what I recommend to do. The rest of these laws, the only one I would consider changing might be tribal assembly to one of these other ones, but for right now, the stability is probably going to be more useful. The rest of this is pretty annoying. It's pretty basic, as is all of this. The one thing that's key to remember is if you want more approval from the party, you put someone in office who has high charisma, and they will boost the party approval over time. And this guy right here, the Praetor, is really great for reducing aggressive expansion impact. So you want to try and create these 2 positions, get them full when you can by the best people. Here is the Senate for Rome. As you'll see, there's 3 different factions. You can hover over them to see what they want, and they will all have agendas that they will get each election, and you can approve and agree with them. You can also, boost and get support from the people and approval down here by clicking on these options. You can do some stuff like this one, the curate assembly, which you can improve our governors. This you can get war stuff. It's all very useful. You have to wait every 5 years. At the start, there's an election. That can be altered over here, making a longer term duration or a shorter one. But I just wanted to quick go over that because I get a lot of questions on that. So in terms of other starting moves, we want to set up idea slots. We want martial ethos, and we want ordered retreat. We don't care about the navy because we're not going to be doing that. And probably the next best one is, well, it's kind of your choice. Sanction privileges is really powerful. Monthly corruption reduction is amazing. Right now, it would be the best one to pick out of these 3. This one could be useful, but I have not seen improving opinion to make a difference on the first mission. The loyalty of admirals and generals is useful, but right now we don't have any generals, but it might be worth taking for when you get a legion. The rest of the stuff down here, the big one you want to pay attention to is expanding the Campus Martis and embellishing the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus. You need gold for that, and you need a certain amount of advances, but obviously you want to trigger that almost as soon as you can. They're long-term full game bonuses. They're really useful. In terms of your deities, you've got arguably the best setup for the deities. The only one that might change is you could change Ceres to Venus to get population growth, but it's nothing immense. The odds of you exceeding your population capacity early game is low, so this one can be changed. The rest of these, all really good. Probably the best ones you can have. The only other one you might consider is Hercules here, but morale is just as good early game. In terms of Omen to start with, probably Mercury is going to be the one you're going to want to activate and keep activating. It will give you citizen output passively, but more importantly, commerce income, which is very important as the game goes on. Next things to do, you want to start probably a pay business investments in Rome to get a import route for 80 political power. Then it comes down to where do you want to do for your innovations, and there are quite a few ones you want to consider. It depends if you want to get military traditions quickly or you want to start down the route to be able to expand with less aggressive expansion. But regardless, you're going to want to do these 4 right here: basic training, military artisan, active drill, and professional training to get the ability to raise legion once you get 2 more provinces. It's worth spending 4 on that now. If you want to get some really fast traditions, you could grab learning on the job and recruitment standards. Those are very useful if you want to do the exploit of raising your levies, waiting 4 to 5 months, and disbanding them for a massive amount of military experience. These ones improve the starting experience of them. Obviously, you can go even further down and snag this one for 15. If you're going to, in terms of saving innovations, this will get you 12, this will get you 15, so it's actually worth snagging retirement opportunities, elite recruitment standards, and veteran reassignment if you're going to go that route. Therefore, you're only going to be 4 away from getting cohorts when you become a great power. If you want to go elsewhere, going down the civics tree, trying to get some of the trade is very useful. If you want to do other stuff, legal patronage on the oratory advanced tree is always worth an innovation if you've got a spare one. +2 loyalty of characters doesn't seem huge, but a lot of the time it adds up and it will just keep people on the loyal side. Can stop multiple civil wars, in general keep people happy. Otherwise, you can go over here and you can start grabbing the aggressive expansion stuff. I find monthly aggressive expansion to be better than percent, but it's up to you. Percent helps you more initially. This helps you get rid of stuff in the long run. Basically, you want the percent if you're going to take more land. You want the monthly reduction if you want to stay more stable. So if you're going to pick them, do be aware that defending liberty here loses you 10 aggressive expansion when you take it. So it's probably not worth taking prior to actually having aggressive expansion. In which case you'd want to take these 3 here. If you want to do cultural or religion stuff, you want to go down the religious tree. Open religion and prescribed canon are the 2 major ones here. So 3 to open religion, 6 to prescribed canon, prescribed canon allows you conversion laws, allowing you to convert your religion and culture faster. Open religion allows you to build great temples, which improve provincial loyalty and convert population to your religion. Without either of those, your ability to actually convert culture or religion more, is useless. The other advantage under the oratory is if you do defending liberty, you're 2 away from gradual economic integration, which will snag you grand theaters. If you want to convert the world to Roman culture, you need that. Now, that is pretty much the innovations done to death. You've got pretty good levies as Rome to start. You're quite capable of almost taking on the entire Italian peninsula from the beginning of the game. Obviously, the more you can avoid that, the better. You start with a navy. You can either use the navy, send it hunting pirates in hopes of it growing, or you can disband it, or you can do what a lot of players do, which is basically just mothball your fleet. Saves you a bit of gold in the long run, keeps your balance positive. Yeah. So, what else? There's basically nobody you want to ally as Rome. You could consider allying some people. I find it to be better to just start the first mission you get as Rome, which is Roman Italia. And you have a choice between, you can do this. If you want to expand, you got to start with encourage expansion, which will give you claims and modifiers on basically all of this area here. If you want to have an easier start with more subjects, start the Pan-Italic Congress, which gives you a chance of, there's multiple options on every country that shows up to the conference. There's one usually in the middle which says, we will protect you, but we have demands, and you basically have a chance of making them a feudatory. I recommend taking that one all the time. Getting 1 or 2 feudatories is very useful, since feudatories come to your wars, they don't use a diplomatic slot, and they tend to siege and reinforce much better than you could manually do on your own. The other option is you wait and you try and destroy Italian allies, which really doesn't make a lot of sense. I find it much easier to keep the feudatories. You can peacefully integrate them later if you do want to get rid of them. There's no real point to fighting a war I don't think there's a modifier afterwards. It could have changed. The easiest nation to conquer out of the starting ones, because you have a truce with Etruria to the north at the beginning, is probably to go into Samnium down here. Be aware, I'll probably say these names wrong. They tend to only ally Lucania down here, and you can stomp both of them in a war. Gives you a lot of land, gets you enough land to form your great power status, at which point you just keep going down these mission trees. I tend to take over this area down here, Magna Graecia, before I go after Etruria and their allies up north, but obviously things can change. Sabina here tends to ally Etruria. If you want to try and attack them earlier, you can attack through here. Overall, though, I recommend conquering these guys, getting enough land. Take all their land in the peace deal. Don't just peace out for some of it. Then raising a legion in Italy. You can add quite a few troops to it. You can do technically up to 30. You won't be able to support 30, maybe 10 or 12. So you have to use levies, but you can conquer most of the world just using one legion, honestly, backed up by levies. And don't forget the wonderful exploit for traditions, raising your levies, keep them up for a couple months and then disband them. Be aware that trick only works if you take stuff that gives starting experience, otherwise it doesn't. I suspect it will be patched. Then when you've got a choice of what traditions to take, you want to go down the left side of the Roman traditions, scale the walls, the Fabri, the Roman roads, and then probably logistics of state, but it's up to you. Logistics of state gives you 4 provincial improvements. The other 2 give you 3 innovations, which is a very large tech lead. I recommend probably pouring them into aggressive expansion reduction modifiers. That will help a lot with your expansion. Or if you went for those first, investing in the other trees I recommended. All very good options. So that will be it for that. Probably want to set Rome to automated trade. You might want to set up the first trade route or 2 yourself, but at that point, letting Rome manage itself. Pour most of your free provincial investments into Rome, getting more trade routes. Be aware you start out with 5 cities here. You should put in every city the maximum amount of academies you can. Then probably, depends if you need money or not. If you need money, marketplaces contribute to your trade routes. Not immensely, but they do help as your population grows. Libraries are probably the next one. So academies, then libraries, then kind of whatever else you want. Rome's big advantage is their early game tech lead. You get a lot of innovations and you expand. Once you conquer this area, you can get missions to conquer the rest of Italy. And then you got a choice to go to Greece, to go to Gaul, or to go after Carthage. You can beat Carthage pretty early on, depending on how they're doing. I recommend you at least subdue the northern area of Italy first. If you want research and easier expansion, go into Greece. If you want to fight barbarians and conquer things without hard wars, go after Gaul. And then just follow the mission trees. They're pretty useful. And if you want to become a empire, there's a few steps that are different than the other countries for Rome. The big ones are under oratory. Down here, you've got a series of missions that will flip you to a dictatorship. Think prior to the Roman Empire, sort of, I guess, what Caesar had, Julius had before Augustus. Rewriting the Constitution requires you to grant your ruler temporary dictatorship. You can only do that when you're at war and have enough support. Then you go to your ruler's portrait, right-click on it, do appoint dictator. Then you can take this law. It's a bit of a block because you actually have to do these in the proper order. Then the next one is you have to have a populist ruler in power, and you have to enact consul ultimatum, which is this second law. Sometimes you can even get to the 4th or 3rd laws easily. This one might be worth taking early on because sometimes it's hard to get. But once you do that mission here, ensure national stability, you lose monthly stability for the rest of the game. Be aware that could hurt if you're not ready. But it automatically flips you to the 45-term electoral law. So your ruler stays in power for 45 years, which basically means their whole life. At which point, if you've got a lot of support in, the Senate, you can peacefully become a dictator. Otherwise, you can start a civil war. It's not overwhelmingly hard to win, and you'll have the dictatorship form. At which point, as the game goes on, there'll be a decision that will appear. Form the Roman Empire. You need 600 territories in order to do so. At which point, you'll be the Roman Empire. You'll get all the awesomeness of having an empire, or an Imperator, which is where the word emperor comes from. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Hopefully this helps you play Rome. Those are the basic tips and tricks. Obviously you can look through and optimize more things. You can always optimize things, getting rid of more trading camps and stuff. Trading camps are useful though. Don't get me wrong. It does help with your manpower, but you shouldn't have manpower problems if you play properly. You should also not need mercenaries ever as Rome, except maybe late game just to have more troops. So once you conquer things, it's worth probably integrating the Etruscan culture group just because of how large they are. They'll help a lot with your troops. Don't really have to worry about integrating any of the others. They're almost all small ones that will eventually become Roman anyway through your missions. So maybe integrate Etruscan or not. Depends if you really want to crush Etruria or not. At which point you'll need a navy to invade their island here. So don't lose your starting one if you're going to do that. Any other tips I can think of? That's about it. The struggle as a republic is to keep your people loyal. The struggle as an empire tends to be keeping your territories loyal. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this helps you. Check out my other guides if you haven't done so. Please do like, subscribe, check out my Discord and stuff. And I'll see you all in another video. Bye for now.